Let's get into it. A TikTok mom of three named Jasmine Graves broke the internet, but not in a way you would want to. With over 200,000 followers and 6 years of full-time content creation under her belt, Jasmine wasn't new to sharing her life online. But this time, it wasn't a funny parenting moment or a feel-good family skit. It was a raw and filtered meltdown that had people debating everything from gentle parenting to personal accountability. In the video that went viral, Jasmine could barely catch her breath. She was pacing the room, visibly shaking, trying to calm herself down while tears rolled down her face. Her voice trembled as she shared what pushed her over the edge. She had gone downstairs, a space her daughters mostly used, and what she saw completely crushed her. It was a disaster. There was trash all over, dishes shoved into the couch, dirty clothes covering the floor, water bottles tossed around, garbage just dumped carelessly like it did not matter. It did not look like a home, it looked like a forgotten space. And the worst part, these were not little kids, these were her daughters. Teenagers, about 18, 16, and probably 14, old enough to know better, old enough to take care of their own mess, but they did not. Jasmine said she did not just ask them, she begged them to clean up, not the entire house, just their section, just the place they lived in and slept in. Meanwhile, she had already cleaned upstairs where she stays by herself, as she always does, every day, alone. And she wasn't just tired, she was overwhelmed. She's the one who pays every bill, holds the household down, and still manages to keep her own space spotless. All this while being a single mom with no help.
I'm having a full-blown anxiety attack and I'm trying to calm down. I'm not editing. I'm showing y'all everything in real time. And it's okay if the internet doesn't agree with me. But they call me dramatic. Let me tell y'all something. I pay all the bills in this house. I like to be clean because one, from trauma. Two, is just who I am as a person. We have a big house. I clean this house up all day by myself. All day. I have big kids in this house. I haven't been downstairs in 24 hours. Because I said, I'm not in the mood to clean up downstairs. Told my daughters live downstairs. We live upstairs. Told my daughters yesterday, I just cleaned up the whole house upstairs. All I ask is for downstairs to be clean because I need to come down there and go to the laundry room. I just walked down the steps. I'm going to show y'all what downstairs look like. I want my daughters walk around here with their hair done. Every pair of sneakers that come out. They got iPhones. They got iPads. They got their own room. They get everything their heart fucking desires. You hear me? I treat these kids like gold. I believe they should live a soft fucking life. I don't ask them for nothing. All I ask is for them to get this fucking house clean because I cannot take the dirt, bro. I'm about to go downstairs and I'm about to show y'all this. And y'all natural reaction is going to say, walk away, let them clean it. They had the opportunity to clean this shit. They will not clean it.
She even mentioned that being in a dirty environment triggers her anxiety, that she grew up around filth and that trauma still lives in her. That is why she needs a space clean. It helps her feel safe. But her daughters knew this. She had told them many times and still they ignored again. Jasmine even ran a test, a quiet, desperate test. She purposely did not put a trash bag in the kitchen bin for 3 whole days. She wasn't being lazy or forgetful. She wanted to see if her daughters would notice. Would even one of them take the initiative and grab a bag from under the sink? Would they care enough to do something small but helpful? But no, they did not say a word. They did not blink. They just started dumping trash straight into the bare bin like that was totally normal. Like it wasn't gross. Like it wasn't disrespectful. It was as if they couldn't even be bothered to think about it.
I purposely didn't put a garbage bag inside the garbage for 3 days. I walked past it for 3 because I said I want to see who's going to put a garbage. You know they've been taking the garbage and putting it in a dustbin. Remind you, the garbage bags is right there. All you got to do is open up the count. They refuse, son.
And that moment, that is when something in Jasmine cracked. She wasn't just mad, she was deeply hurt. She felt invisible, like her efforts, her pain, her voice, none of that mattered. She felt like a maid, like someone whose worth in that house was tied to what she could clean up, not who she was. She was exhausted in a way that sleep did not fix. And as she stood there later, crying into her phone, trying to put her feelings into words, she wasn't fishing for sympathy. She was trying to understand how this happened, how she raised 3 daughters who had everything: iPhones, iPads, sneakers, perfect hair, their own rooms, a mom who gave them everything, and still they couldn't care enough to do the bare minimum.
I I look at downstairs right now and I try to go about my day, it's gonna be on my mind all day. So yes, I'm going to clean it because I cannot take it. But while I'm cleaning it, I'm losing it in my mind because it's like, my nigga, why? How can you live like this? Look at this shit. Look at this. Look at this. What is this? What is this? I don't even know what this is. Look at this. How do you just, you don't even get yourself together. When you get yourself together, look at this. So you literally eat food and you put it in the chair next to, oh, gets worse. Look at the dresser. You sit your food here like it's a garbage. Bags and bags of fucking garbage. Clothes everywhere. Why is the bikes in from the garage? Why? Why is there bikes inside? Look at my laundry room. What? Oh my God.
It wasn't about the trash bag, it was about what it symbolized. A house full of privilege, but empty of appreciation. Here's the thing. Jasmine said she worked hard to give her girls a soft life. That was her goal. But somehow, that soft life became her downfall because giving them everything came with no expectations, no boundaries, no consequences. She did not want to raise them in a harsh environment like she grew up in. But in protecting them from struggle, she accidentally shielded them from learning responsibility. They did not have chores. They did not even make their own beds, but they had every luxury. And that is where the debate kicked off online. Some people were like, these girls are spoiled and lazy. Period. Others said Jasmine did this to herself. She enabled it. Jasmine said she practices gentle parenting. She doesn't yell. She doesn't punish. She talks it out calmly. And for a long time, people admired her for it, until things started to go south. Her daughters kept testing her limits, ignoring her pleas, and leaving her in tears over a filthy house. And still, she kept giving them chances. She kept explaining, kept understanding. That is when the internet began to ask, when does gentle parenting stop being gentle and start being neglectful in its own way? Because here was a mother, emotionally wrecked, clearly in distress, and yet still making excuses, still giving her daughters the benefit of the doubt, still hoping they would come around on their own. No structure, no consequences, just tears and talk. And then, to everyone's shock, came the next video. Her daughters, the same ones she was crying about, were on camera, dancing, laughing, smiling, vibing, not a single hint of remorse. No follow-up apology, no we'll do better, just business as usual. And guess who was behind the camera recording them with pride? Jasmine. The same mom who was just broken down in tears was now cheering them like nothing had happened. No real consequence, no lessons, just vibes. To many viewers, it felt like emotional whiplash, and the message was loud and clear. The girls did not take her seriously, and maybe that is because she did not make it. Now, this isn't new for her. According to her own posts, this wasn't a one-off. It was just the latest in a long line of moments where her daughters ignored her boundaries and her breakdown. She once got so overwhelmed that she left the house completely, packed up for the night and went to a hotel. She put her phone on Do Not Disturb, not just for peace and quiet, but as a way to disconnect from the stress and maybe even send a message. She was hoping the absence would speak louder than her voice had. And when she returned the next day, the girls had cleaned for once. And for a second, she thought they finally understood, that they got it, that maybe, just maybe, things were turning around.
I ain't gonna believe this. I don't know who kids this is. I don't know who house. Y'all ain't gonna believe it. I walked in the house. Look at this. What? Jesus Christ. What made it happen? Was it because I bugged out? Was it because you see my pain? What made you? What happened? Is it? You didn't want to hear it anymore? I understand. Woo, child. It even smelled good in here. That's a first. Wow, this makes me a happy mom. Good job. Wow, you even, look, she even cut the grass. And ain't nobody even asked her to cut the grass. You know what? I don't know what God is doing in my life. I don't know what he's trying to show me, but God, I'm thankful. Check your other sister room, because this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. What the heliante? It's not as bad. She could get it. She could get it together. Yes. Would you believe your sister's room is clean? Would you believe that?
Why are you recording my room?
Cause it's nasty.
My room not even nasty.
It's not as filthy as it usually is.
Behind that door.
I can't.
But only a few weeks later, everything went back to how it was. The house was messy, the same complaints, the same emotional weight on her shoulders. Nothing had really changed. Another time, she tried a farm approach. She warned them, yelling this time, that if they did not get it together, she would cut off the phones, cut the bills, remove privileges. She even posted security camera footage of that serious talk, her trying to lay down the law. And what were the girls doing during this heartfelt moment? One was scrolling on her phone without even looking up. Another glanced at her mom like she was interpreting something. One was sort of cleaning, but she still had her phone in one hand, like TikTok was more important than what their mom was saying. It was painfully obvious. They did not take her seriously. They did not believe her. They did not think there would be consequences. And the sad truth, they were right. Because up until that point, there never were. Just more talks, more warnings, more tears, and then back to business.
I get y'all. Name one thing y'all ask me for that I say no to. You can't. Y'all want and need for nothing. Name one rule I got for y'all. Keep the house clean. And I'm not saying clean my whole house. Clean behind yourself. Why is that such a hard task, bro? Why is it so hard? The only time I am upset like this is when y'all dirty my shit up. Do y'all think that shit is fair to me? It's not. And while we keep giving y'all everything y'all asking for, I'm starting to feel like y'all don't care. So it's making me want to be a shitty mother to y'all. And that's not who I am as a mom. But if y'all want me to turn into that person, I can. So I'm giving y'all a fair warning from this very moment. The next time we go down this road, I'm going to be everything I don't want to be to you. I'm not paying your phone bill. You ask me for something? No.
As usual. But then came a surprise, the kind that made people pause and rewind. Jasmine posted a new video, this time with a bright smile across her face. She looked lighter, almost relieved. Why? Because her daughters had finally cleaned. And this wasn't some lazy, half-done sweep of the floor. No, they deep cleaned. The kind of cleaning where even the corners were spotless. They even went outside and trimmed the grass, which had been growing wild for weeks. It was the kind of chance you almost did not believe until you saw. She asked them what had changed, what made them finally take responsibility after all the breakdowns, the warnings, the crying. Their answer: we just didn't want to hear you whine again. That response cut deeper than it may have sounded. It wasn't rooted in empathy. It wasn't about realizing how badly they had hurt their mom. It was about avoiding the sound of her voice, about convenience, about turning her out, about tuning her out. And yet, for Jasmine, it still meant something. Even if the reason stung, the result was change. For the first time in what seemed like forever, something finally shifted in the house. Maybe it was the yelling that shook them, maybe it was the public backlash, maybe it was the threat of losing their phones, or maybe they finally realized their mom meant business. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. This did not need to get this far. Jasmine let it simmer, ignored the warning signs, and kept hoping things would magically improve. She wanted her daughters to have what she did not: peace, comfort, security. But somewhere along the way, she forgot to teach them that those things are not just given, they are earned. She built a life of ease around them, smoothing out every bump in the road, fixing every mistake, and shielding them from consequences. But in doing so, she also stripped away their sense of accountability. The result, a group of girls who did not value the effort behind the comfort because they never had to contribute to it. It wasn't just about the mess on the floor, it was about the bigger mess, the emotional disconnect, the lack of respect, the absence of urgency. These girls did not fear consequences because in that house, there never were any. And that's a parenting issue. That is about habits built over years. That is about moments past where lessons should have been taught but were not. Because kids don't suddenly become disrespectful or messy overnight. Those behaviors form slowly over time, shaped by what's allowed, what's ignored, and what's never said. In this case, a lot was never said, and even more was never enforced. What now? So, what is next for Jasmine? Does she stick to her guns? Does she finally follow through with consequences? Or does she go back to cleaning up after them and filming dance videos while hiding her tears? Because, let us be clear, this wasn't just one bad day. This was years of bad habits, of emotional labor gone unseen, of trauma passed down in a different way. She wanted to break a cycle, and maybe she still can, but breaking a cycle means doing the hard stuff, not just crying on camera, not just talking. It means action, boundaries, discipline, not yelling out of anger, but following through out of love. Jasmine said her daughters were the future mothers of her grandkids. If she doesn't teach them now, they may pass down the same irresponsibility and the same pain. And the saddest part, Jasmine was trying to protect them from the pain she went through, but now she's setting them up to repeat it. So, who's to blame? Is it the kids? Yes, they knew better. At their age, with all they'd been given and all they'd seen their mom go through, they should have done more. They had the tools, the awareness, and the opportunities. They just chose not to act. Is it Jasmine also? Yes, she raised them that way, not maliciously, but through habits, through silence, and through overgiving. She wanted to protect them from pain, but in doing so, she forgot to prepare them for life. It is both, and it is complicated. Real parenting rarely has clean answers. It is messy, emotional, and full of trial and error. But this situation did not happen overnight, and it won't be fixed overnight either. What matters now is what she does next, because change, it is still possible, even now, even after all this, but it won't come from wishful thinking. It will come from boundaries, from structure, from hard conversations, followed by even harder action. Sometimes love isn't about saying yes, it is about knowing when to say no and meaning it, even if that means taking the phone and hearing the backlash, even if that means cutting the Wi-Fi and being called mean, even if that means standing firm, looking like the villain. So one day they understand what real love looks like, because being the bad guy today may be the very thing that helps them become the better women tomorrow. What do y'all think? Was this all Jasmine's fault? Were the kids just being kids, or is this one big mess that everyone needs to clean up together? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the internet's messiest moments, because this wasn't just about dirty dishes, it was about everything underneath them.